1,000 Israelis killed is too many. The question I want to ask our leaders, who seem so clear about that, is how many Palestinians is too many? Governments are trying to weaponize our pain in an assault on Gaza that could lead to genocide. Israeli Minister of Defense Yoav Gallant literally said,
אנחנו מטילים מצור מוחלט על העיר עזה. אין חשמל, אין מזון, אין מים, אין דלק, הכל סגור. אנחנו נלחמים בחיות אדם ואנחנו נוהגים בהתאם.
Human animals. As Jews, particularly those of us who have ancestors who suffered or were killed in the Holocaust, we've heard that kind of dehumanization before.
What we will do to our enemy in the next few days will echo for generations.
I don't think there's any way Israel can be expected to coexist or find some diplomatic off-ramp with these savages. They have to be eradicated.
Again, we recognize that language as Jews. Biden and other international leaders, as well as groups, are making this about a clash between Jews and Palestinians. But that's factually incorrect. It's about a nation state versus an occupied people. And also, in its intent, bombing Gaza does not make Jews anywhere safer. If you're not gonna listen to me, listen to the Israelis, who are blaming Netanyahu for this atrocity.
He has to go immediately. Immediately. He is a murderer.
There is no evidence that what we have right now is working.
Who are blaming him for the arrogance of not listening to the warnings he got days before this attack.
Egypt told him it's going to be a big fuss from the Hamas. No, we don't care.
Who are blaming successive Israeli governments for the audacity to believe that they could cage people indefinitely, that they could enact apartheid on Palestinians indefinitely, that they could oppress and brutalize them every single time they tried to non-violently resist and not expect disaster to happen to their own citizens. Netanyahu has made clear in this moment that he's willing to sacrifice his own citizens to appease his fascist ministers. For example, Bezalel Smotrich has said, now is the time to be cruel. We can't worry about the hostages too much. They haven't been prioritizing rescuing the Israeli hostages in Gaza because they've been focused on rallying international support for a possibly genocidal bombing campaign. And the US is sending weapons to Netanyahu to carry it out. There are forces spreading propaganda and calling for escalation right now who don't care about any of us. Netanyahu cares about appeasing his fascist ministers and his leaving his own citizens to die. US politicians have their own geopolitical interests in the region and care about winning their next elections. Republicans care about scoring political points, and many of them are white Christian Zionists who want all Jews to die in the rapture eventually anyway. The more we, people who care about human life and freedom and justice, turn on each other in this moment, the more we let those forces win. We can oppose innocent civilian deaths no matter whose they are. We can oppose war crimes no matter who perpetuates them. Being against an oppressive, authoritarian government, being for Palestinian human rights just as we're for Israeli human rights and the human rights of any person, doesn't mean being anti-Semitic. In fact, it's anti-Semitic to say that there is something inherently Jewish about the cruelty that's currently being inflicted on Palestinians right now. That's not my Judaism. Jewish text tells us, B'Tselem Elohim, every single human being is made in the image of the divine. All life is sacred. American Jews and Jews in the diaspora are tasked with transforming our grief into a call to end bloodshed so it doesn't happen to anyone else.